Hey everybody, this is Justin again from Songbirds Music, Art, and Dance Center, and today instead of being at school, I am out in my garage. I've got a little wood shop out here and I am absolutely covered in sawdust. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about how you can build your own electric guitar body from scratch. Which might sound like a terribly difficult undertaking, but if you have a little bit of willingness to try and experience some new things and maybe a little bit of access to tools, it's really not so bad, and you can make something that's playable and enjoyable with just very little experience. So this is going to be at least a 4-part video series. I'm building a guitar for one of my bandmates, and it's due by the end of the month of February, so this is going to be out in installments, and you'll be able to see the whole process here by the end of the month. So, of course, because I grew up watching things like This Old House, and also because I can't build a guitar without making one for myself, I'm actually building two, which makes it easier to show you the step-by-step process of what exactly to do. So the first step, of course, is you need to decide what kind of wood you're going to make your guitar body out of. The most common kind of types of wood for guitar bodies are ash, alder, maple, and sometimes pine, although we're going to talk about that in a second. You can also use poplar, which is the only kind of that wood that's readily available at Home Depot and Lowe's. I built some bodies out of poplar, and it comes in those nicely cut planks, like 2x4s and things, that are really easy to use and to join. The biggest problem with any kind of wood you're choosing is that it needs to be in a solid block, or what we call a guitar body blank. And you cannot get those unless you buy a specific body blank from an online retailer. There's a whole bunch of them out there, but of course they're going to come at a more expensive cost. So if you want to skip this step and get a pre-made blank, go for it. Or if you want to save a little bit of money and experience the actual step one, then do this route. So once you find the wood that you want to use, you want to check to make sure that it is free of blemishes and imperfections. So any kind of like obvious sap or moisture or crazy knot holes or cracks, you're going to want to avoid. Anything like that is just going to get in the way, and it might ruin your whole build later on down the line. Note on sap, if your wood is wet or sappy, it's not going to work. Wood has to be completely dry, or dry to a reasonable extent before you start building. If you find out later on down the line that the wood has actually been wet, it will ruin the guitar. So be extra careful. When you're selecting your wood, go to the store and make sure you feel it, examine it, see if there's any stickiness to it, and if there is, leave it alone. Drying wood out takes sometimes up to a year, so you want to find something that's actually dry so you're good to go. For my build today, I've selected yellow pine. This is yellow pine here in this body block that I've made. This is something that I actually had kicking around the garage for literal years. It's been dried out and weathered already. So I've gone ahead and I've planed it down to this nice exposed color, and you can see that it's two boards that have been glued together. You will have to do that if you pick a Home Depot or Lowe's wood, because you need to build up a certain size and thickness. What you're shooting for is something that is at least 20 inches long and 15 about inches wide, and a thickness of about 1 3/4. Now this build, I'm going a little bit thinner. I want to do a thinner guitar and something that's a little bit more sleek. So I'm actually being a little bit cheeky and going for 1 1/4, which is, I would not recommend that for your first build. If this is your first time, or if you're new, definitely stick closer to the 1 3/4 so that you have more room to play with. So anyway, once you have the wood that you know will fit this dimension, your next job is to make it as smooth and as perfect as possible. If you're at the store and you get lucky, you might find some boards that are already good to go. I would not recommend using plywood, so actually look for boards. And if you have access to power tools, for example, like a planer or a table saw that can square up the sides, you can trim off the edges to make them perfectly straight, or plane down the top to make them perfectly smooth, that will help tremendously. It's not necessary, if you get lucky and find the right wood, you could be fine, but it does help to have access to those tools. We'll talk a bit more about tools at the end here. Once you have your wood down where it's been squared off and it's nice and smooth on top and bottom, all you need to do is get some really strong wood glue. I like to use the green Tight Bond wood glue because it's the strongest that you can get at the store. And you're just going to clamp it and put a heavy weight on it and leave it overnight for at least a whole 24 hours so that it is nice and strong, and there's no way that this wood is coming apart, because the glue is actually a stronger bond than the wood itself. As I said before, this here that I'm using is yellow pine. I would not recommend pine for your first build just because it does tend to be really soft and it also holds a lot of moisture. So unless you are absolutely sure that your pine is dry, or if you have some wood experience, I would stick away from pine. Anyway, so you want to have your body block made here. And after that, your next step would be finding or making a guitar template. Now I'm going for a Stratocaster build, which is like the Fender guitar, and there are plenty of templates that are online for free. You can actually get the original ones from Fender and like knockoff ones that are the same shape and dimension. You can buy those from online resellers, or you can make them yourself. I'm lucky enough that Jillian here has a laser machine, so she's able to cut templates to an exact dimension, and we've done that. So here you see we have a template made. The only reason here in the middle where there are bumps is because this is too big to fit in the machine, so don't worry about the bumps in the center. The whole shape is what we're going for. And the edges here are perfect, and the dimensions are also perfect. If you don't have a fancy machine like that, that's fine. You can take the dimensions from the internet, like the plans, and you can just print them off to scale to make sure that it's actually the right size. And you can glue them to a piece of particle board like this. This is MDF, or even plywood. And then you can cut it out carefully with something like a jigsaw. Now keep in mind that if you are doing that by hand, any imperfection that is on the edge of the template especially will be transferred to your body block, because we do a lot of the trimming with a router or something like that. So the more accurate you can get, the better. If you don't have access to power tools, I would definitely recommend buying a template pre-made online. Like I said, you can get them out of a lot of materials like acrylic or MDF, and they're not that expensive, so that's probably a safe bet. Anyway, once you have your template and you're happy with it, you're going to attach it to your body block. So I'm just going to take this here, put it on my body block, and you can see there is plenty of room along all of the edges to chop some wood off. The best way to fix this actually is with double-sided Gorilla Tape. I've tried to do this with wood clamping it and like holding it in place with tension, but it's not so good. Tape is definitely the best option. So go to Home Depot or Lowe's and spring for double-sided tape to attach your template to your block. Once it's there and it's looking good and you like the direction of the grain, everything is glued up and ready to go, you're just going to save yourself some time and some labor down the line by chopping off all of the excess. So take a little hand circular saw like this, or a jigsaw, or you can even use something bigger like a table saw and cut off your extra area. So I've already done that on my second one, and you can see here that it very slightly resembles a guitar. You know, if I were to hold this up like so, we've got a lot less that needs to be cut off later on, and that's just because we're saving ourselves work with the router. You know, we're going to be using a very big router bit to take off material, and if you have too much, it takes a long time and it's very hard on your bits, and to be honest, it's a little more dangerous because the router is a very, very dangerous tool. So you want to be leaving as little router work as possible for later on. That will be in the next video. So that's pretty much it for this step one. This whole thing was about getting your wood, making your body blank, finding a template, and then cutting off extra wood to prepare ourselves for the routering process. All of our next video will be about the router and how to actually carve out the edges of the guitar and make it nice and sleek and the way that you want it to feel, which is really smooth under your fingers. Before we go here, a note about power tools. I would not recommend using any power tools ever if you have no experience. So ask someone that you know and trust that has experience with power tools. I bet a family member or friend does. Or you could always ask me at Songbirds to kind of guide you and help you through the process. If you don't have any tools, or if you don't have anyone in your area that has any that you could use, there are places around Orlando called maker spaces or hacker spaces. Jillian and I used to attend one in Longwood called Familab. It's spelled F-A-M4 L-A-B, Familab, and it was a really good space. Essentially, you go to this big warehouse location and you pay a small membership fee and you're able to use all of the tools that you'll need. So it's a really nice way to get started if you don't have access to the tools that will make this possible. That being said, you technically could do all of this with hand saws and hand tools. I would never recommend that. That sounds like a terrible experience, but the options are limitless. The setup that I have here is kind of middle of the road. You know, I've collected and built my shop over several years, and it's not, of course, super high end like you could use in a factory, but it's also not hand tools. So really, it's up to you how far you want to go with it. But if you have no access, check out those maker spaces and hacker spaces to get you started. Anyway, this is your step 1. I'll be checking in next week to guide you through step 2. I hope you learned something, and we'll talk to you then. Bye.